The next one that we have is a movie that played in theaters, but then you blinked and it was out of theaters, even though it stars two of the biggest actors, honestly, even to this day. Wolves
Yeah.
stars George Clooney and Brad Pitt as cover-up guys, cleanup guys, I guess, technically,
Yeah, fixers.
who have a lot of stuff to deal with when they both get hired to do the exact same job. We caught it over on Apple TV Plus because, well, you break down the deal that they have for this.
Yeah, so it was originally going to be a wider theatrical release and be in theaters for several weeks. And then ultimately, the people behind this movie decided to take a deal in which it would only get that 1 week theatrical run, the limited theatrical run that Art was just mentioning. And in exchange for that limited theatrical window, they were guaranteed a sequel. So we are getting Wolfses or Wolves 2 or something. More Wolves.
Making deals like the New York mayors out there. I thought it was cute, honestly. This is so slowly paced. It is such a dad old man movie. It kind of tested my patience at points, and then it would do some stunts. There's a stunt with a beeper where they're looking at the beeper. That bit kills me. It is paced for these older guys who are fully living, or honestly leaning into this idea that they're not as youthful as they used to be. It feels like an Ocean's movie where they know they can't afford everybody, so here's a spin-off starring these two.
Yeah, I mean, when they sort of went straight to, almost not straight to streaming, but limited release and then to streaming, I guess I had some concerns that the movie wouldn't really be that good. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's great or anything like that.
It's not a knockout.
It's entertaining.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, it's solid, and these are two actors in Clooney and Pitt who have a pretty easygoing chemistry with one another, so that it does sort of evoke some of those Ocean's movies. I wish there was a little more dynamicism to their relationship. It kind of starts in one place and basically stays in that place for almost the whole movie, but there's like good bits in there, and they give themselves pretty interesting things to do. I also thought that Austin Abrams, who essentially plays like the third lead of this movie, was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. The moment he appears, there's this big sequence in particular where he has to give a whole speech just dead on. And I had just finished the Menendez episode. I don't know if you've caught any of the one on Netflix. Episode
Is he a
5.
Menendez?
He is not a Menendez, but there is a whole episode where it is literally just on the brother.
Oh.
Interrogating him. He's got like a 2-minute speech. Mop that whole scene, bro. He is so good in this, especially because he's acting up against juggernauts,
legends.
Some of the legends. I thought he was really good in this. We've seen him in a lot of different things. I had never seen him this quirky before. I think maybe Do Revenge was the closest he got to it. I thought he really held his own. And there's elements of his character, especially with another cameo appearance that includes someone close to him, where they definitely leave breadcrumbs for what a sequel is supposed to be. And that's where I thought that it probably dragged out the most. There is a lot more to the story that they could have answered. I even think the ending is a little convoluted with the way they explain it, but that may just be me on my first watch.
It's interesting because this is essentially a big conspiracy movie, right? Like they're fixers and they find themselves in the middle of this big situation with a crime and drugs and murder and whatever. And it's a lot more complicated than it appears at first, as is the case with a lot of movies like this. But they kind of don't tell you how complicated it is until like the end of the movie. And that was just like a confusing way to end. It makes more sense when you know that they're going to do a sequel to it, but it is a little bit of, that impatience that you feel. It feels like a lot of that should have came much earlier to get you invested in the film so that you're not just sort of hanging out with these dudes.
I agree. Because now it feels like they're leaving it for the sequel, and it's like, nah, you need to sell me on the sequel that you're getting. It very much feels like they knew they were going to get one to begin with.
Right.
So, I'd say that it could have been a little bit more cohesive. And I think, honestly, it's better that it's on streaming because it made me enjoy the viewing of it better. You know how my rating system works. I think in theaters, I may have lost a little bit of my patience with it. But at home, hell yeah. This is what I think an Apple streaming movie should be. It should look well. It should have big leads in it. And it should be able to stand out, maybe not be a theatrical movie, but not your average, like what people assume a Netflix movie is. I don't think this would fall under that cliche.
Yeah, it's definitely better than like the pejorative Netflix movie that we often talk about. But you know, it is like a solid movie to watch while you're on your phone, which is not exactly a compliment, but not exactly an insult either, because it's entertaining and it's there's fun stuff in it. I don't know if the whole like Croatian wedding dance sequence in the middle belonged.
Why?
That felt
Right?
a little hokey for a movie with this much talent attached to it. And I also like, I feel like John Watts could have maybe done a little bit more with the look of this movie. It's a little flat for my taste, but
A little bit.
you know,
Maybe I'm comparing to
nothing that
Spider-Man.
really offended me.
There's a
Sorry?
slow-mo sequence. There's a slow-mo sequence that happens in the movie where it's like, okay.
It's like, did you practice this with Tom Holland first, or?
And then it just keeps going and going and going. I'm like, yo, we are on a completely different timing here. It is the slowest slow-mo you can find. I thought it was decent for what it was. I think especially in comparing it with the Matt Damon one, The Instigators, that had a little bit more humph to it. But again, that's why I'm saying I feel like they're making a bunch of different
Right.
Ocean's
You're saying you
movies.
preferred Instigators? Because I think I preferred Instigators too. I think there's a little more clever.
I think I may have given it half a star more. I think Instigators is a little bit better than this. It had more
Same.
funny moments, and it kept it going a lot more. I'll be quoting a lot more things from Instigators,
Same.
but there are scenes in here. I really like that beeper scene. I like when they're arguing at the beginning. They're just, they're the slowest they've ever been in Wolves.
Yeah.
And that's better at the
For
comfort
sure.
of your own home. Playing on Apple TV Plus. With the sequel coming, I don't know when, because they leave you with a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Probably 2 stars, 2 years from now, I guess. That's
Nah,
the general
bro. That's
pace of these
ridiculous.
things, right?
Maybe, I guess. That's way too
3
long,
years.
bro. That's ridiculous.
We
They will
going
be
3
here in
stars
3
on
years.
this one?
I went 3 flat.
3 flat. I'm okay with that one.
3 flat?
3 flat for Wolves.